Hey guys, John McNamara, host, Ron in Vegas. We're talking local sports, business, real estate. If you guys like what we see, subscribe, follow us on Ron in Vegas podcast. Today, we are talking sports. We're talking UNLV basketball, football, Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to get into a bit of Vegas Knights. And if we have a little time, we might get into some real estate. So we'll see. So, home opener, UNLV basketball. They played UT Martin. And fortunately, it was a loss. It was 86-81 loss at home. Tough loss for UNLV basketball. So the question is this something we should be really worried about? Game one, big upset. And I'm going to go through it with you guys. First, the good. I actually really enjoyed this game. Looking at the team, it is super athletic. You can definitely tell there's more length, more athleticism. So it ended up being an interesting game. Usually the first game of the year, I'm super pumped. I kind of wasn't going in to be honest with you guys. Didn't have high expectations just because this team, it's got 10 new basically players coming in that are going to be getting minutes. I kind of figured there was going to be some chemistry issues that definitely showed up in game one. What I really loved to see was there was maximum effort out there. They continued to play hard during the game. And two of the bright spots were Kamani Hamilton, which was kind of neat. He ended up playing the 5, the center spot, which is he came in as the most highly touted transfer to this team. He actually had offers from Arkansas, Kentucky. He's supposed to be playing like a wing, maybe / power forward for us. And he actually ended up playing the 5 spot. So I thought that was really cool that Pastner almost kind of played positional basketball to a certain degree. And the fact that he had the fortitude to really do that, because you don't see a lot of coaches actually do that. They're just kind of like next guy up in that position. And what I saw on the court with the starters is he played the 5 best players out there. So that was good. Kamani Hamilton, he put up 13 points in only 14 minutes. He had foul trouble early on. He's had this issue in the past at High Point. I think he only averaged 24 minutes a game. If he and Pastner was really one thing I like about Pastner too. Very honest, very vulnerable. I really recommend listening to Pastner's interviews. He really dives in, takes full accountability to what goes on out there, and I don't hear a lot of coach speak. He actually tells what he's thinking, so you don't have to read through things, or he's saying, who's playing well, who's not, his vision of things. So it's been really fun to watch the vision of Pastner and how honest he is. The other standout to me was Draven Gibbs, Longhorn. He put up 18 points. He's playing shooting guard for us. Right now, he is playing point guard. We'll get into the reason why Kamani Hamilton and Gibbs are playing those positions. Super athletic, was able to do a lot. I'm super excited about him. He was able to put a lot of points up. So those were kind of the two standouts for me for the game. The bad was the team just was not in sync at all during this game. They had 22 turnovers. It was just sloppy basketball. And you could tell off right the bat, they allowed UT Martin to stay in this game. So it was an interesting game, and the biggest, probably the worst news of it all, and afterwards, is our starting point guard, Miles Che from UC Irvine, was supposed to start this game. He actually got injured this week, and he's going to be out another 2 months. So on top of that, we've talked about this before, Emmanuel Stevens, I believe, is out for another 6 to 8 weeks, give or take, our starting center. So we're not, 2 of our starter players are out. There's injuries beginning of the year. This team is brand new, have to get in sync. So outlook for this is, I think the non-con outlook is if they can get above 500, they have a very tough schedule. If they can get above 500, I think that would be a plus. I would, for Rebels fans out there, I would preach patience right now, because I will say this. This is the first team that I've seen in probably since the Dave Rice era where I've seen the length, the athleticism. It's been a long time. I think the last time Kruger had one team with the Boons that was kind of there, not the same. So I think there's a ton of upside to this, which I'm looking forward to. And then just a breakdown, basically from like the Washington game and from the UT Martin game, what I saw. The power forward, Dembele, he had really good size. He played well. He actually shot 2 for 4 from outside, 50%. So he looked pretty solid to me. Also, Al Green is a guard for the Rebels. He played well. He looks like he's going to be a solid scorer for us. He was making some mid-range shots. He was getting to the basket. So I see him as being a pretty good player. Also, Walter Brown, Austin Starr and I have talked about him before. He got, I believe, like about 11 minutes. And he seems like he's going to be potentially a really good utility player for us. Freshman Tyron Jones. He was a highly talented top 100 freshman recruit. Came in here. He looks super athletic. He's got a lot of NBA potential to him. We'll see, but he brought down 9 rebounds. Again, Hamilton was out. So him and Jacob Barnaby played. He brought down 8 rebounds, and Barnaby's kind of the guy on this roster. Was a little compared to the other guys that have been on this team. He's I believe the one player that's actually from the original team, but he's more of a rotational player. I wasn't expecting a lot of him with Stevens being out. He's getting time, and also with Hamilton getting into foul trouble. I wasn't expecting a lot from him, but I was actually surprised. He played pretty well. If he can be a guy that can get us rebounds, played solid defense, and take some minutes out there, I think he could be potentially a solid player. So I was actually pretty impressed with him. Not in the Washington game, I wasn't, but impressed with him. Also, Nas Cunningham, who was one time the #1 recruit in the nation, went to Alabama, and then he went to UNLV. He's 6'7". He's lengthy. He's athletic. He took a lot of shots. He's been taking a lot of shots from the games that I've watched. His shot does not look good right now. He's still developing as a player. He kind of reminds me a little bit of, if you guys remind of Rashad Vaughn back in the day, who had a couple his freshman years here in UNLV. He had a couple, some big games here and there. Never really truly broke out for the Rebels. So we'll see. He has a lot of potential. I like that Nas Cunningham and Tyron Jones, even though that they're young, they're getting minutes. And even Pastor went out there and said, like, hey, we're going to give him a lot of minutes to kind of develop these guys. So, and his vision was we're going to get, he had a vision of, when everybody's back, is getting the longest guys out there with length that can play good defense. So it's exciting to see the potential. And I think realistically, we're going to have to be patient, because I think the second half of the season, as long as everybody, hopefully most of them, can be healthy, there's a lot of upside to this team. So I am excited about it. They ended up rotating 9 players. Hopefully when those 2 are back, I could see a 10-man rotation. So Passner is sticking to, hey, he wants to play defense. He's going to rotate the defense, different zones, man, press. I like that. So you're going to have to be on your feet with the Rebels in the future. And yeah, so excited about it. We got to see if this team can continue to build chemistry going into Mountain West plays. So the question is, should we be concerned with this day 1 loss? And my answer is no. I actually was not shocked that they lost this game. Rebels have lost to worse teams in the past on the opener with newer teams. It happens. Overall, it's funny to say this. It's probably the first loss watching UNLV anything for me, and I'm like, I was actually excited after the loss because I saw the potential, I saw the effort, and if there's effort and the team still loses, I can really appreciate that. So I'm excited about the upside of the team and the culture that Passner is building. All right, number next. Let's get into UNLV football. So the question here is, UNLV is 6-2. They just had losses to 56-31 against Boise and 40-35 to New Mexico. So they are 6-2. I'm not going to go into a breakdown on UNLV football. Guys, I hope you would check out. We did a breakdown half season with Ryan Pulliam. Check out that episode on Run in Vegas on YouTube if you want more of a breakdown of players and what's going on with the season. So the question is right now in conference they're 2-2. And do we think that this team at 6-2 overall can make it to the Mountain West Championship? And to me, the biggest red flag, and we talked about in the last show, is the defense. Since the Air Force game, it has been absolutely atrocious. They have given up over 500 yards a game against Air Force, Boise, New Mexico. So it's been pretty tough to watch. And I know, and you guys may be hearing the news, is like Rebel fans aren't showing up. I think this is a big reason why. Even though they are 6-2, they didn't really play anybody tough this year until the last couple games that they have lost, especially Boise. New Mexico's a solid team. They are a bowl team. They look solid. They beat UCLA as well. They're a little under the radar. They still should have probably won that game. But the defense just doesn't look good. And last year at the end of the season, there was fans showing up to the game. And why was that? The UNLV football was playing well on offense and on defense. They were holding folks down. So I think that's a big reason why it's just been abysmal. They've been giving up over 34 points a game. They are ranked 11th in the Mountain West. And Ryan and I actually talked about this last time. It was very typical back in the day when UNLV was 11th, 12th ranked defense in the Mountain West. If we were ranked 10th or 9th, it was like a good year. But with the amount of talent that UNLV football has now, this is just completely unacceptable. At bare minimum, they should be middle of the pack. And Dan Mullen hasn't pulled no pun intended, pulled the plug on Paul Guenther. Overall, I think he should. It may not matter at this point, and he may be doing that because Paul Guenther. Now, I will give Paul Guenther some credit here because he did come in a situation. He was not supposed to be the defensive coordinator. He's the interim defensive coordinator. So in a lot of ways, he actually did us a solid. And maybe that's part of it. So I do appreciate that with Paul. It's clearly not working. And there's definitely going to be a shift next year. I will put money on that one with our defense in the future. The offense has just looked phenomenal. So that will be, I think, a very big thing that they're going to address in the offseason. So do I think they're going to make the Mountain West conference game? I don't think so, guys. The defense is just not good enough. At the end of the season, I do expect probably 2-3 more wins. The biggest game, they're at Colorado State. They have been having a poor season. And we got at Nevada. Those seem like those should most likely be wins unless something falls off the rails. Utah State and Hawaii are very interesting. Utah State, I think that we'll get the win there. Hawaii seems to be at home the biggest game of the year. I see Hawaii pulling that out. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. So I see us getting 2-3 wins of the year. Still going to be a great year. It's looking like 8-9 wins. First year under Dan Mullen. Great job overall. And I'm excited to see where the UNLV football is going to look like here in the future. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit of Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so the question is, there's a big trade in the news. If you guys saw it, Jacoby Myers, the number one wide receiver for the Raiders, he got traded for a 4th and a 6th. So is this a good trade for the Raiders? That's the question. Overall, we did see a shift with there was a big loss actually last week against Jaguars. The Raiders now are 2-6. They lost in overtime to the Jaguars. It was a big loss. I could have seen them at 3 or 5, like maybe making a push, a late push for playoffs, but I think that was it. They're 2-6 now, and I think they're going to start playing the young players, start developing them, start working towards next year, because the odds of them making the playoffs are very low right now. Brock Bowers, that last game, really stepped into that number 1 role, so that's been a really interesting. He's basically playing receiver for the Raiders now. He had 12 catches, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns. They moved Michael Mayer, the former second-round pick from Notre Dame, highly touted tight end, to full-time inline tight end. So I think it's great they're using both of those guys because they're both clearly very talented. But Brock Bowers is really the one now. And, we've talked about on the show before with the Raiders is they did draft in the second round Jack Betch from TCU. He was really kind of has a similar skill set to Mayers. So overall, I think it was a good trade. They weren't, Jacoby Mayers in the offseason was asking for an extension. It fell on deaf ears. It just didn't happen. So clearly they weren't looking to extend him. A 4th and a 6th, I think, is pretty solid compensation. I think it's a win for both teams because Jaguars really have been hit by the injury bug with their wide receiver group. And I think it's a good opportunity for Raiders to really develop their young talent. I think they've drafted well there and kind of set up for next year. So overall, I think it was a good trade for both teams. And we're going to talk a little Vegas Golden Knights. All right, we don't talk a lot of Knights on this show. So the question is, should Run in Vegas and the MAC team give out Ghost Lounge seats to our listeners? So we're going to be giving away tickets here in the future. So we're going to have a contest for you guys. The Knights are 7-2-3. They're first in the Pacific this year. Stand this year has been Jack Eichel. As many of you guys know who Jack Eichel is. He's already put up 19 points for the year. He's one of the leading candidates for MVP, and he just signed an 8-year deal for a $108 million extension. So congrats to Jack on it. And, so we're going to have a fun contest in the next month. So on this pod, not this one, but it's going to be within the next month, is if when we say nighttime, if you guys tell us the episode and the minute, the first person that says night or DMs or messages us is going to get those tickets. They're in the Ghost Lounge. They have really good tickets, and we're excited about it. We're going to have more information. We're going to probably be sending out an email and on Instagram, giving you guys more information on it. Feel free to DM us, message us to get more info on that. So, and last up, we're going to do a little bit into real estate. What's been going on with the real estate market? Rates overall have been coming down since September, which has been good. We saw a little bit of pickup in activity. They've come down actually a full point since May, so that has definitely helped. I will say this though, is with the government shutdown, it ended up being overall a pretty slow fall overall. So it's been a tough year for real estate. I just sort of sat the other day, 74% of agents didn't even do a deal last year, or this year I should say. And overall, sales are down 12% from last year, which was a slow year. So interesting times. But I will say this, going to next year, we're seeing some positive economic growth here in the future. So we're excited about that. Prices did come down a little bit this year. But the real reason I'm reaching out to you guys, because this is kind of time of the year, if you guys are going to be spending time with your friends and family, and discussing your goals of selling or buying real estate. So what I would recommend is, if you guys are thinking about buying or selling real estate here in the future, please reach out to George and I. This is a time to be having the conversations, a slower time of the year. We can sit down with you, do a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, and kind of pre-pitch you guys, because it doesn't really matter if it's after the first of the year or spring or summer. This is a great time to sit down with us, get the information, and we're excited about helping you guys out going into next year. And so, guys, this is Ron in Vegas. Thanks for hopping on today, and take care of yourselves today.